Hello and welcome. Angela Meiritz-Reid here of Stamping Beauty, Christchurch, New Zealand. Today I'm going to be making this card. It's for the Bee Inspired blog hop today. I made this one in Flirty Flamingo, but today I'm going to make it in Gorgeous Grape just to change it up a bit. So to start with, I've just got a basic white card base. And I've got a piece of Gorgeous Grape, and I'm not sure yet which side I'm going to use, so I'll wait to adhere that until I've created the flower to see what looks best on that. So to create the floral image, I'm using some shimmery white cardstock, and I'm going to emboss it in white. I'm just going to use my embossing buddy to give that a good cover. And then I'm going to stamp it in Versamark. Did re-ink this the other day, so it's nice and juicy. So give nice, good coverage. And I'll just stamp that onto here. Just make sure I get it onto my bit of paper. Press down. And of course you won't be able to see it, but I might if I just turn it on an angle. So then I'll add a white emboss powder. So I'll just sprinkle that there. Make sure I've got it totally covered. Then I'm just going to heat emboss this. So it won't be a moment. If you just tilt it onto its side, you can see whether it's all been covered, that it's all heated well. So then I'm going to watercolour it. So I'm just bringing some scrap paper and some old aqua painters actually. And then I'm going to use Granny Apple Green. So it's hard to see where I'm doing this initially, but once you add the colour you can see. Just add that onto there, and then it just, what's good with the heat embossing is it's ridged, so it gives you a nice sort of area to colour in and a little bit of a rim, so makes it a little bit easier not to go over the edge. So I'm just going to colour those all in. Just with the really light background of the Granny Apple Green. Then I know what I'm working with and I can add extra colour. That's those done now, so there aren't so many, and then I'm just going to go back in with a little bit darker colour and just pop it where the veins of the leaves are, just to add a bit of interest. And that's the best thing about these images, is that the artwork's done for you. So if you're not very confident about where to shade, just shade where the artist has already done it for you. So you can make those as dark or as light as you want. Just put a wee bit extra around the edge on these ones, just to define the edge a little bit more. take too long. Right, so that's done. And then I'm going to use the Gorgeous Grape ink, and I'm going to do exactly the same. Just going to add sort of the light colour and just pop it on, just colour it in into these petals. Just spread that all around the flower. Just keep inside that lovely rim that's there, and just fill it in. Then I'm going to go back in and add darker colour like I did with the leaves, just to add some detail. Just go on those little lines that are there, the shaded lines. If you like watercolouring like I do, you probably find it quite therapeutic. But if you're not sure about watercolouring, just try it. It's just a tiny little bit of paper. Just what I'd suggest is inking up a few, you know, and embossing them, and just practice. It's a little bit darker on that side, but that's okay. See, it's a little bit of interest. And then I might do what I did on the leaves, is just go around the edge just to create a little bit of difference on this one. And I'll blend it in a little bit too. They often, when you're adding the water anyway and adding colour, it does often just do the blending for you. Sort of seeps in. And another thing you can do is look on Pinterest. Lots of people do watercolour tutorials. If you want to see some people doing, you know, giving tips, I'll just blend that colour in a little bit. And I think that's okay. And then with these little flowers here, I'm just going to put this straight on with the dark colour, just to get a bit of variation. Sort of like little seed heads, so I don't need much. And it doesn't even matter if you go over the edge with those, it just adds a bit more colour. Right, so that is done. And then there is the die for that, which makes life easy. So I'm just going to die cut that. It won't take too long to dry if you haven't added too much water to your paper. So once that's sitting in the right spot, just run that through. Move it a little bit. this time. Right, run that through. Sorry, my squeaks a little bit. That is cut, so that does a lovely job of doing that. And then while I'm here, I'm just going to die cut. This is just a piece of basic white, and I'm just going to die cut that with the scalloped rectangle, and it's from the Scalloped Contour Dies. That's always a lovely die with the stitching around the edge. And then what I want to do is I'm going to stamp that straight onto here. Now you want to hope that you get it straight, so I always practice on a little bit of scrap just to make sure that something lines up, and then I can use that as my guide. So see the top of the block, I'll just check that that's straight. See, I've popped it straight along that line, and see that is straight, so then I know that I can use that as a guide. So I'm going to do is give that a good oopsie man, I think I've overrated it. And then what I'm going to do is line that edge up with there, and then just go straight up and about there, and place it down and hope for the best. And there it is. It was lucky. It's always good when it does that first time. And then it's a matter of assembling it. So what I want to do, I'm going to pop that up onto here with some dimensionals. So I'll just get a good few of those on there, and just pop the half up here. See, these go everywhere, don't they? They stick to you like crazy. Right, that's all of those off, and then what I've done is I've popped that sort of so it's over the edge of those, yeah, just to get a bit of interest. And then it's deciding what looks best with that. I think with that white it just adds a little bit. And then I'm just going to show you a little something I do. Instead of using dimensionals all on the back of that, I've got cut 3 pieces of card, and it's the white from the back of the DSP. So I just pop 3 layers together. See? So I've just cut them slightly smaller than the piece of DSP, about 5mm. And I'll just tuck that on the back of there. So you can see there's that little gap around the edge, and then I just pop that onto the card front. So it just gives a really good solid base, and it's a great way of using up all that white card that comes with the DSP. And then now I want to pop that onto there, so more dimensionals. You could do the same thing with scrappier bits of that card if you wanted. This doesn't use too many dimensionals. And then another wee trick I do is sometimes I just put a bit of glue on the back of these. And it's sticking sticking over the edge, so I might just top another one on top of that just so it lies nice and flat. And then what that does, it gives you a bit of room for movement if you're worried about getting it in the right place. So you can see you can move it around. But if I'd left the dimensionals as they were, it would have just stuck straight down. And then on here I use those little sequins, and actually I think we might use these glossy dots because they're gorgeous grape. So that's nice to have that coordinating. And I don't think I'll use the big one, I'll use the middle size one. Just scoop that onto there. That's a nice contrast with that nice brightness and shiny. Put that there, and then tuck one up here. And another thing I do, what I want to show you, what I like to do is for my insert, just have a bit of a plain white card that I get from a printer, and just add a bit of glue to a little strip of DSP. And tuck that along the bottom. And then it's just nice when you open up that plain, instead of it being plain white. I'll just put a bit of Stampin' Seal on the back of those, just in the corners. Tuck that in like that. And so it's not so plain. And that's my card. And there's my original one there. So thanks very much for watching. If you've not subscribed, I'd love you to. And I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.